Welcome to the second part of the Aprilia build. Today we're gonna look at putting the engine back in and just doing some general tasks. So I 3D printed the intake manifold, or not really a manifold, the intake adapter. Because TPU is really flexible, I needed to do some stabilization, so I just made a small metal bracket to go on top. The drill was really dull. It didn't seem like it in the first hole because I cut half of the hole, or because I cut out the part where I drilled it. On the rear part, the steel was enough, but to go shore the seal between the aluminium and the 3D printed part, I added some silicone. In general, you won't get problems with gas and silicone. Just make sure it's one that's rated for the temperature. I didn't really tighten them down too much because, like I said, it's 3D printed plastic. I'm interested in seeing how it holds up to the test of time. Now we need to make the second bracket for the gas tank. One of them broke off. I don't know when that happened. Also, this one had a crack, so I'm welding it back on. Now I had to take apart the intake again because, as you might have realized, I welded and the intake was open, so loads of dirt got in. But after that I covered it up. Always remember, grinder and paint makes you the welder you ain't. So I just ground down the welds a bit to make them look nicer. Then I cleaned it up with IPA and sprayed it down with a single stage paint. It's a 3-in-1. I know those are not the best ones, but it works fine. For the next piece, that's like a top engine mount that mounts to the cylinder. And I don't know if my frame is crooked or if it's normal, but I just started using hydraulic jacks to spread the frame a bit, and then it goes in really nice. Else you just fuck up the aluminium threads, so I guess this is better. Then I put in the 4 screws. Also again, tighten them up good, but don't over tighten them. It's just an aluminium frame. Then I reconnected the cooling hose on the top of the cylinder. These go on pretty nice. There are worse ones on this bike. The mounting bracket, the new one, fits really nice. I'm glad how it came out. I ran new fuel hoses and also added in a fuel filter because the one in the tank doesn't seem to do that much. Haven't got it working correctly. I used zip ties here for the clamp. I'm pretty sure the new fuel line is thin enough so it wouldn't even need clamps, but just so they don't slip off, I used zip ties. Then I refilled the cooling system. At first I forgot to take out the ventilation plug, so it overfilled. Also props to the engineers, this is really nice to bleed the system. If you can just take out one screw. Yeah, then it started running. This wasn't the first start. I forgot to film that, and I did a few things in between and ran it for a bit and stuff. That's why I revved it a bit higher here. Yeah, so we're putting on some finishing touches on the engine side. As you can see here, I put in a wideband O2 in the exhaust. It was more like a test, because on the internet I was told that you can't run a wideband O2 on a two-stroke. Turns out you absolutely can. Just when you cold start it with choke, it's gonna take, I'd say, 10 to 15 minutes until the exhaust is cleared out enough so it will start reading again. One of the next things I'm gonna do to this bike is change the ignition, because currently the original one is in there and they needed to take the timing out around 8,000 RPMs because of emissions standards. So you have a kind of a dead band between 8 and 8,500 RPMs, and this is really annoying when driving, and it leads to you just having to beat it harder, because if you fall below 8.5 it will go into this like not nice running mode and you don't have any power, so you need to downshift to get over this limit, or you can be really low RPM but then you don't have power. So yeah, and you can't really find that good ignition systems for this bike that is in a price range that I find acceptable. So because I'm doing an electronics apprenticeship, I will try to do my own CDI. Let's see how this comes out. If it works, I will let you guys know and probably make it open source. So yeah, follow along. It will also be on Apprentice Doing Tech. I will show the process of that. So the bike is almost together now. There are By the way, I'm sorry for the flickering that's throughout this whole video. My mobile light there really starts to flicker on this camera. On my phone it wasn't noticeable, but yeah, it doesn't match up with the with this camera, and you can't correct it, so yeah. But next time it will be fixed. I will use a different light. And I just put back on the back seat. I had this removed because I did a luggage rack on the back for the holidays. This was also where the bike blew up. And I put the seat back on, but the latch was hanging, so I quickly loosened it a bit, just by hand. Was enough to make it move again. Then I put the seat back on, and just like that, the bike is finished. And I'm already looking forwards to all the comments that say, yeah, this bike is gonna blow up if you build it like that and stuff. I know it's not perfect, but how else would I learn, right?